another where it didn't exist. So what I'm asking you is, should the rightful owners of the house be able to go back into the house and do what they will with it? Should it be given back to them?
I pray that he will make fair and just everything. And I pray that your heart towards me would not be
This is why you're the
Because
devil
I
that the
believe-
Bible speaks of. Look, you see this?
I'm trying to get my cousin to. Well, one of these weeks I'm gonna try to wiggle a little bit and get a little extra time from work, man. I'm trying to get my cousin's way up north. I told him, man, he gotta come hear these brothers speak, man, because he's the one that been sending me the information. I'm like, bro, you gotta come. He's like, well, what school they got up? I'm like, bro, I'm gonna find out, but I'm like, no matter what school, I'm like, these brothers are speaking the truth. You know what I'm saying? You need to come hear it.
Let
So
them,
I'm trying to
let them know we go by the fire of God. I came up under the Sakari.
start.
Yeah, I came up under the Sakari under Sergeant Yatab and Deacon Hakar. Alizar.
Fire.
Yeah, we go by the fire of God, and I come from the Sakari. But you can call me though. You got my number. Call me.
I do got your number.
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna hit you up, bro.
Keep digging in, man.
Thanks, huh?
Keep digging in, man.
Yeah, I'm digging in, man. I'm really trying to, bro. I'm trying to get on the right path. You know what I'm saying? When you want to search for the, you know what I'm saying, for the truth, when you start hearing it, you can't help it. You know what I'm saying? But I still got questions, man, because I want to start talking to you about the standard, because I was running a lot of the services as a prison I was at. You know what I'm saying? And one of the things that the standard, bro, because so you hear a lot. You know what I'm saying? It don't make no sense that only certain people can go, because, hey, what if I'm a good person, and what if I'm, you know what I'm saying, did this, and my thing was always, well, what is the standard? What makes a good person? Because one person's standard of being a good person is totally different. So what's the standard? There has to be a standard set by God, because he's the only one that, you know what I'm saying, matters. That's my next question. But I'm taking it's a little twist on it. So I'm gonna get you brothers next week.
All right, for sure.
Well, God bless y'all, man.
Hey, we'll be looking forward to it, bro.
You're doing this work for real, man.
Yep. All right. Be easy. Be easy. All praise. I'm glad he came back. He had a good spirit the first time too. I forgot where we was at before that.
I got Isaiah 60.
Yeah, let's go ahead and finish that for the sake of it. So the brother's question was, the Most High God said that he was going to give salvation. And it's pretty much the same Christian block, is that people think the Most High God is going to give salvation to everybody. But what we have to use is something called deductive reasoning, because this book is also a mystery book. The answers are broken up, and for good reason. We got a heathen that's willing to go in this Bible and hide what he thinks he should hide from us, so that we can't climb out from under his foot, right? But he can't do that if he don't know how to find the clues to begin with, right? So what we got to do is something called deductive reasoning and process of elimination. So when we read prophecies like this, we can see that it's clear that everybody can't be saved if we believe this whole Bible. The Bible tells us that if a prophet speaks something in the Most High God's name and that thing don't come to pass, he's a false prophet. So let's read this example and find out. Should we call Isaiah a false prophet? Because everything else that he told us was going to happen has happened, right? If he's lying about this, that means we got to cast out the rest of the book, which is retarded, because we can see where his prophecies have come to pass. Go ahead.
Was it 61? 61 and 1?
Yeah, 61 and 1.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 61, verse 1.
So Yahweh Shai read from these scriptures, who the world calls Jesus Christ. He read from these scriptures when he was defining salvation to the Jews. Right? Go ahead.
The Spirit of the Lord God is upon me.
The Spirit of the Lord God is upon me.
Because the Lord has anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek.
What's good tidings? It's good news. Go ahead.
He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted.
To bind up the brokenhearted. Go ahead.
To proclaim liberty to the captives. And the opening of the prison to them that are bound.
Go ahead.
To proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord.
In Luke 1, in Luke 4, this is where he closed the book, right? He didn't go any further, meaning that more of this prophecy still has to come to pass at a later date, right? Go ahead.
To comfort all that mourn. To appoint unto them that mourn in Zion.
In where?
In Zion.
In the heathendom.
In Zion.
In Zion, go ahead.
To give unto them beauty for ashes. The oil of joy for mourning. The garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness.
So we're gonna trade in all of the sickness, all the sorrow, right? We're gonna trade all that in for happiness and righteousness. Go ahead.
The garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness. They that might be called the trees of righteousness.
There we go.
The planting of the Lord, that he might be glorified.
That he might be glorified. Go ahead.
Verse 4. And they shall build the old waste.
And they shall build the old waste. When the scriptures tell us we're gonna build the old waste, it tells us that we're also gonna be subjugating the Edomite man and the rest of the heathen. Those that are called by the Most High God's name, we are going to oppress the heathen. So how are the heathen safe? It's impossible. It's an impossibility. Go ahead.
They shall raise up the former desolations. And they shall repair the waste cities.
And we shall repair the waste cities. Go ahead.
The desolations of many generations.
Go ahead.
And strangers shall stand and feed on your flocks.
They're going to feed our flocks. That's why they're going to be in the kingdom, to feed our flocks. Go ahead.
And the sons of the aliens shall be your plowmen.
They're going to be our plowmen. They're going to serve us in the field. Right? Go ahead.
And your vine dressers.
Go ahead.
But ye shall be named priests of the Lord.
But we're going to be doing priestly work for the Most High God.
Where are you reading from?
The heathen are going to serve us. The whole Bible. The whole
Where
Bible.
are you reading from?
The whole Bible.
Oh, right now.
Isaiah 61. You know when Jesus taught salvation, he taught that salvation was only for Israel? Or do you think he taught that it was going to be for everybody?
Eventually, ultimately, everyone.
Ultimately, everybody. How?
Yeah. In fact, forever, everyone.
How?
Because he originally started with Abraham, but his intention was for Abraham to be an example, Abraham's seed be an example for all nations.
That's right.
So ultimately, everyone.
So you're talking about how the Israelites are going to be a light to the nations?
Absolutely.
Is that going to be a pleasant
That's
thing?
our job.
Is that going to be a pleasant thing?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's see. Watch this. Because salvation, it means safety from harm, right?
Is that what salvation means?
Because the word salvation itself, right? And then even
the
if
word
we,
salvation is Yeshua.
the word, no, that means he
That
is salvation.
That is Jehovah is salvation.
Exactly. So being very specific, but what the word salvation in itself means on a
I'm not
linguistic
sure. Yeah.
on a linguistic basis, it means safety from harm, right? So if we're gonna break it down and go into Yeshua, it does mean that he is salvation, but he is safety from harm if we break down salvation, so that we can be as specific as possible. So what we need to address is, what does it mean when Jesus comes to save, right? So when he comes to save, he's going to be providing safety from harm, right? This is something that we have to understand that is scriptural, right? So in Isaiah 61, the parameters that it sets up for salvation, it doesn't involve safety for everybody, right? The day of the Lord, it calls the day of the Lord the day of vengeance, right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's get Isaiah 61 and 2.
Well, and obviously I wasn't listening to exactly what Isaiah 61 is reading.
Yeah. Let's get Isaiah 61 and 2.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 61, verse 2. To proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord and the day of vengeance from our God.
And the day of vengeance from our God, right? So the heathen are going to be experiencing vengeance. Now, it says later in this chapter that we're going to build up the old wastes and the old desolations, speaking about the tabernacle of David. You remember where that's at? In Isaiah 61? I want you to read there. They shall build up the old wastes in verse 4. So watch this.
This is verse 4. And they shall build the old waste.
They shall build the old waste.
They shall raise up the former desolations.
We're going to build up the former desolations. Go ahead.
And they shall repair the waste cities.
The waste cities. Go ahead.
The desolations of many generations. And strangers shall stand and feed your flocks, and the sons of the aliens shall be your plowmen and your vine dressers.
So do you think that's going to be a pleasant experience?
Ultimately, I do believe 100% conviction in my heart.
But does that say that in the Bible though?
Yes.
Like, do you think this is talking about a pleasant experience? That's what I want to know.
Is that specific?
Yeah, the heathen being our plowmen and our vine dressers. I'm asking you if you think that that is going to be a pleasant experience for the
Well,
heathen.
it's hard to know when is that specifically speaking about.
It's talking about after salvation. So what we have read is that the Most High God is going to deliver the Israelites, right? And that once the Israelites are delivered, they're going to rebuild the old ways of the former desolations. And after that happens, it says the heathen are going to be our vine dressers and our plowmen. So what I'm asking you, is that going to be a pleasant experience for them while they're fixing our vines and plowing our fields?
Well, it kind of depends. I mean, it's hard to read exactly what that's exactly saying, and it's hard to interpret exactly what that means in our time. But on the other hand, we as humans work, right?
Yeah.
Like if you were to go work in somebody's garden, it's not like that's an unpleasant experience, right?
Keep reading. Let's check for one more hint. Now, let me ask you this. Would you rather be a priestess of the Most High God or a plowman?
Of course.
You'd rather be a priest, right?
Well, what is a priest?
I'm just asking. A priest is a direct servant of God.
Well, what is a priest's job?
It depends on where you're stationed at
We're
in the temple.
supposed to be a kingdom of priests. So what is our job?
Who's we?
Well, whoever is the priest of Jehovah.
It says a nation of kings and priests, right? So there's also showing that there's a form of social stratification there. So it says that the kingdom of Israel is going to be a kingdom of priests and kings. But the priests are the ones that serve God directly, and whatever their station is within the temple, or even if you're dealing with the Melchizedek order, wherever you're stationed at in the body of Christ, right? So that's what a priest is somebody that serves God by doing whatever they're exalted to do by God. So would you rather be a priest or a vine dresser?
Well, I think that's kind of an obvious question.
You'd rather be a priest, right? So keep reading.
Verse 6, but ye shall be named the priests of the Lord.
So it says the heathen shall be vine dressers and plowmen, but the Israelites are going to be priests of the Lord. So when I asked you if it's going to be a pleasant experience, I kind of just wanted to get your idea based off of your theology. But what we're actually going to do is uncover the answer to that without me having to assert my opinion. Why don't you get Amos 9 and 9 real quick? And then what we're going to do is we're going to read more into the prophecy of Isaiah 61 by going to Isaiah 60. But let's just talk about when the Israelites rebuild the tabernacle of David, as we just read about. When we serve Christ and we become priests of the Most High God, it's going to talk about what the heathen are going to do. So Amos 9 and 9.
This is the book of Amos, chapter 9, verse 9. For lo, I will command, and I will sift the house of Israel from among all nations.
Go ahead.
Like as corn is sifted in a sieve.
So the first thing we got to understand is when it talks about the Most High God scooping up Israelites, when you deal with sifting something like a gold pan, what you're doing is you're scooping up all of the mud that might have gold in it, and you shake it until only the gold is left in it, the dirt is
So are
left.
you saying though that only the Israelite will be in that top of the sifting?
Well, let's just read it. I'm not going to assert anymore, remember? But you know, that is my understanding, but let's just find out if I'm reading this wrong. Go ahead.
For lo, I will command, and I will sift the house of Israel among all
It
nations.
says he's going to sift who? What did that say? The house of who?
The house of Israel among all nations.
Among all nations. So that means he's going to go to all nations.
Why is he sifting them?
Are you familiar with the curses?
With the curses, yes.
Okay. So according to Deuteronomy 28, the Israelites would be scattered into different nations to serve them if they didn't obey the Most High God. So when salvation occurs, the reversal of that is him scooping us out of those nations. So he says he's going to scoop Israel, meaning he's going to deliberately go to these nations and scoop Israel out. It doesn't say anything about him scooping other nations out. So that's the first clue. Go ahead.
As corn is sifted in a sieve, yet shall not all the least Yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth. All the sinners of my people shall die by the sword.
So now when we deal about with righteousness versus wickedness, he's saying that the criteria isn't just that you be an Israelite, it's that you be a righteous Israelite. right? So while he's thinning out the criteria, he's still not making any room for heathen. He's just saying if you're a wicked Israelite, then you're going to get purged out and you're going to die.
So, and I know I'm kind of jumping into your progression here, but if I'm understanding you, and I'm not sure that I'm understanding you correctly, are you, from what you're directing this reading, saying that the heathen are not at all going to be under God's care and protection?
Everybody's going to be under God's care in a sense of this. At the end of the day, when the wicked are in authority, the people mourn. And when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But that's not differentiating between salvation and what I just mentioned. Salvation is a very particular thing, and salvation is the deliverance of the Israelites. See, what we got to understand is that
You're understanding that salvation is only the deliverance of the Israelites?
that's exactly what it is.
I don't think that's what it is. I think that the Israelites are God's chosen people and he has a special place for them, but I don't think that those are the only ones.
Okay, so let's see where the heathen special place at in this reading, young lady.
Hey, my Israelites.
Keep reading.
All the sinners of my people shall die by the sword.
Lift it up.
All the sinners of my people shall die by the sword.
And then what else?
Which say, the evil shall not overtake nor prevent us. In that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen.
The tabernacle of David that is fallen. So when we read earlier in Isaiah 61, that we were going to build up the former desolations in the tabernacle of David, this is touching on the same event, right? It's just giving us a different angle of that prophecy. This is why eschatology is so important. It really needs to be integrated in the churches, because a lot of times people go in there and they just read John 3:16.
How you?
And then they
Y'all boys good?
Hey, real quick.
Yeah, I'm out of here. All right, do what y'all gotta do. I'm on the block, you know me.
Hey, be safe and go home and just chill, man. All right, go ahead.
Close up the breaches thereof.
So this is talking about uniting the two kingdoms of Israel. What?
Which is happening.
Oh, how am I going to explain that?
No, but
From black guy to black guy, I should just know what's going on.
is that all that was?
He's, I'm asking you. I don't know what's going on. He's just not scum to me, so I don't know. I just dapped him up. So I love him. But go ahead.
So why did no, please, if you don't mind, I really don't understand that. Why did he come up to you friendly when it felt like he was being aggressive?
Why? What's the problem with that?
No, nothing.
I don't
It's just-
understand it.
The situation didn't seem like
it felt like
that
it
was
was
what it was.
aggressive. And
You should ask him if he comes back.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I feel like he would be angry if I asked him why he's being aggressive.
He might hate white people.
So is that against me?
I don't know. That's why I see you gotta ask him. You're asking me to put in your mind what he's thinking. That's just impossible. I'm not right. So
Okay, I appreciate that.
let's keep going.
And I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old.
So this is what's happening while we are building the tabernacle of David, and we're building Israel back into one nation, right? This is very key, so I want you to listen close. Now, you said you think there's a place for everybody. I would agree with that. But the question is, where is everybody's place at? Right, go ahead.
This is verse 12. That they may possess the remnant of Edom.
What does that mean? Possess.
Well, Edom is Esau.
There you go, good job. How you doing, fam? Kwame Yasharala. If you got a minute, let's build.
That they may possess the remnant of Edom and
What?
all of the heathen.
What does it mean to possess?
Well, possess means own.
Okay. So now you saying that there's a place for everybody. It sounds like when you read this scripture, the place for the heathen is being owned by Israelites. Can we extrapolate that from this text?
Well, I think we need to define the word heathen too. I mean, you
Nation.
can't just, that's all it means is heathen is goyim, and that means nation, which can even refer to Israel sometimes.
Yeah, but we've just clearly made a distinction between Israel and the nations. So there's not going to be Israelites owning Israelites in righteousness first and foremost. When you read the law of God, we're going to be following the law of God and the kingdom of God. You can't own an Israelite. You can have him in indentured servitude and let him go after the Jubilee, but you cannot own him. You're allowed to own the heathen, right? So that's a moot point. This says possess. It says the Israelites that are wicked are going to die. The Israelites that don't die are going to rebuild the tabernacle of David, and the heathen are going to be a possession. Can we extrapolate from this text that the heathen's place is going to be being owned by the Israelites?
Sorry, I mean, to me it's a bigger picture, and I'm not taking away from what you're reading, okay? But I just feel like there's a big picture, right?
Watch this. I'm going to show you something real quick.
Like the big picture is who's God, right? Like who is God? What is God?
I mean, that's something that's going to take us away from the
No,
point. There is a bigger picture. There is a bigger picture, but
ultimately covers, it's like the umbrella that covers everything.
the bigger picture is that the Israelites are going to rule the world under who the world calls Jesus Christ. And the heathen are going to be forced to serve God. Right? And the world is going to be at peace for that. Now, if that's not good enough, you have to ask yourself, do you want to serve God? Now, you said earlier that your preference would be that you be a priest, because a priest is somebody that directly serves God, versus being a plowman or a vine dresser. We've read that the heathen's place is going to be plowing and vine dressing.
How do you intertwine it? I'm sorry. Are you okay? Yeah, she's the one that said it.
Her dad has it.
Well, that's good, because I mean, she needs to know this.
How do you talk about grafting in?
What's grafting in? Adoption?
No. Well, sort of, but not
What do you mean?
completely. It's basically, do you understand the
You talking about Romans 11?
Well, no, it's not just in Romans. It's throughout the whole scripture about being grafted in. So in other words, if you're a non-Israelite and you choose to come and live amongst the Israelites, you can choose to make that way of life your way of life.
Does that mean that
And
you
you
become
can
an
be
Israelite?
grafted into Israel.
So does that means that you become equal with the Israelites, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, but you obey the laws the same as they're required, and you live the same way of life.
Okay.
In other words, I guess in my reasoning for mentioning that is because to say that you're goyim or nations or heathen insinuates that nobody outside of the tribe of Israel would be acceptable on the same level as an Israelite, which is not, in my opinion, in my understanding, not true. Because if you're grafted in, you're made equal with Israel, and that's, in my opinion, the ultimate goal of our God is to make everyone equal. There is no you're better and I'm better than he's better, because God is love. Period. Bottom line, God is love. I love you as much as I love you, as much as I love you, as much as I love any of us. So, and he's not a God of preferences. It's I love all my people. But he chose Abraham because Abraham obeyed who he was, and obeyed his ways, and obeyed his laws, and followed after him, and therefore he said, you are going to be the one I'm going to use to get to the whole world. Ultimately, the whole world is the picture. It's not, and I don't know if I'm understanding you wrong.
So let's deal with this. You said once you become grafted in, you become treated as Israel. Now, this is true, right? But the problem is that getting circumcised and following Israelite customs as an Israelite is not grafting in. So what's happening is two ideas are being conflated. So let's touch on this. Get Exodus 22 and 25 real quick.
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 22,
Watch
verse
this.
25. Here we go. If thou lend money to any of my people that is poor by thee, thou shalt not be to him as a usurer.
You shall not lend upon usury, meaning you can't add interest and things like that and cause him to accumulate debt. He's supposed to pay you back exactly what you gave to him, right? So, go ahead.
Neither shalt thou lay upon him usury. If thou at all take thy neighbor's raiment to pledge, and thou shalt deliver it unto him by the time, we'll start from the top, 26. If thou at all take thy neighbor's raiment to pledge, thou shalt deliver it unto him by that the sun goeth down.
So these are ways that we're supposed to deal with Israelites, right? It says you're not supposed to use usury, right? But there's a contrast to this. We're actually able to use usury on the heathen. Now, if the heathen gets circumcised, how is it valid that he's become an Israelite if I'm still able to lend on usury with him? Watch this. Get Deuteronomy 20:19 and read through 20.
So I actually am not sure on, like I understand where you're going because I am familiar with those scriptures, right? But what I'm not sure about is if there's grafted in, if that same rule applies. I would believe it applies. Like in my opinion, from the present day, if you're a believer in Christ, and I have, it doesn't matter if I'm necessarily an Israelite or not an Israelite.
Go to take a taxi from the ferry boat to the ship.
Hold on, sister. Go ahead. Hold on, I'm gonna change my battery. This is a good discussion point that people need to learn. So I'm gonna use your voice and your questions to answer other. All right.
Not very warm environment.
So the first thing that we need to address is that you said when people get grafted in, they become equal, and when you follow the customs of God and all of that stuff, then you can be treated as an Israelite. Now, this is your opinion, fine. But what we need to do is bring your opinion subject to the scriptures. So get that in Deuteronomy 22, or get that where I had you go.
I have something to go with that. Which I
Hold on, no, sisters. We teaching a lesson right now, but feel free to ask us questions so that we can go into what you got to go into. But all things need to be done decently and in order. All right. So Deuteronomy 23 and 19 through 20, right?
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 23 and 19. Thou shalt not lend upon usury to thy brother, usury of money, usury of victuals, usury of anything that is lent upon usury. Unto a stranger thou may lend upon usury.
To a who?
Unto a stranger thou may lend upon usury.
A stranger you may lend upon usury. This is talking about a heathen. Now, but we got to understand that there's Israelite strangers and that there's heathen strangers. You know what I'm saying? When an Israelite comes into the land, they're supposed to get circumcised, adhere to the customs, and be treated as brothers. This is what the grafting in is talking about. When it's an Israelite who is estranged. We can touch on that in the New Testament and
So
show.
you believe that the Israelite that is a stranger can be grafted back in? Is that what you just said?
Exactly. Because when you're not circumcised, you're supposed to be what? Cut off from the people.
Right.
So that's the principle that the grafting in is touching on.
But you're actually separating that from any other stranger. In other words,
Exactly.
any other. Can you prove that scripturally?
Absolutely. Watch this. So what is an Israelite? What's another reason why an Israelite would need to be adopted or grafted in? First of all.
Another reason why an Israelite would need to be adopted or grafted in.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, I can't think of any specific.
So let's get Isaiah 5 and 5 first and foremost, because Romans 9 is what comes to mind throughout Christianity when it comes to the whole idea of grafting in. First and foremost, what we need to establish that the vineyard that the Most High God is talking about through Paul in Romans 11 is Israel altogether. Watch this. Isaiah 5 and 1.
Meaning the land of Israel or
Israel as a nation.
as a nation, or the people.
Yeah, because when you go into the concept of husbandry or being a husband, it's grafted from the whole idea of husbandry. So everything in the Bible dealing with being a husband is it's a agricultural reference. So when you're a husband, you're dealing with husbandry, you're planting a garden, which is your offspring and all that. So Isaiah 5 and 1.
Now this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 5, verse 1. Now will I sing my well-beloved a song of my beloved touching his vineyard. My well-beloved hath a vineyard in a very fruitful hill. And he fenced it and gathered out the stones thereof and planted it in the choicest vine. And built a tower in the midst of it.
And the tower is dealing with the watchmen of Israel, the ones that are supposed to watch after it, make sure that they're not going astray, blah, blah, blah. Keep going.
And also made a wine press therein. And he looked that it should bring forth grapes.
Thought that it should bring forth grapes, but what happened?
And it brought forth wild grapes.
But it brought forth wild grapes. This also is cohesive with the wild olive tree, right? Now, what I'm going to read is Jeremiah 2 and 21 real quick. Yet have I planted thee a noble vine, holy and right seed. How then art thou turned into a degenerate plant of a strange vine unto me? This is dealing with the Israelites becoming estranged from God and acting like they're a vine from some other tree. They're now unkept. They're not hedged about with the righteousness of God. This is why when Romans 11 touches on it, it's talking about a wild olive tree versus a good olive tree. So it's not about the fact that there's some heathens over here and then there's some Israelites over here and the heathens can be chopped down and brought to this tree. No. But what we're going to do is further substantiate that with Isaiah the 5th chapter. So can you read it?
Verse 3. And now, O inhabitants of Jerusalem and men of Judah, judge, I pray you, betwixt me and my vineyard. What could have been done more to my vineyard that I have not done in it? Wherefore, when I looked that it should bring forth grapes, brought it forth wild grapes?
A little louder. I want the camera to hear.
Verse 5. And now, go to, I will tell you what I will do to my vineyard. I will take away the hedge thereof, and it shall be eaten up.
And that shall be eaten up. And this is something that is heard throughout the Bible. This is something that happened in 70 AD, dealing with when Titus Vespasian came and kicked us out of our land and caused us to go into the other nations where we went to flee, and when we were carried in slavery by the Romans. Right, go ahead.
And it shall be trodden down. Verse 6.
Be trodden down. The Gentiles shall trod it down until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled, right? This is also what Romans 11 is touching on. Keep going. Watch this.
And I will lay it waste.
And I will lay it waste. Go ahead.
It shall not be pruned nor digged.
Not pruned nor digged, so it becomes unkept. It becomes wild. Go ahead.
But there shall come up briars and thorns.
Go ahead.
I will also command the clouds that they have no rain upon it.
Go ahead. They become dry, right? Psalms 1:1, it says, blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly. And it says that the man that's not walking in the counsel of the ungodly, he's going to be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, but the wicked are not so. They become dry.
And I will lay it to waste. It shall not be pruned nor digged. But there shall come up briars and thorns.
There shall come up briars and thorns. Go ahead.
I will also command the clouds that they rain no rain upon it.
Go ahead.
For the vineyard of the Lord of hosts is the house of Israel.
Is the house of who?
Is the house of Israel.
What is the house of Israel?
For the vineyard of the Lord of hosts is the house of Israel.
So if we're going to talk about the olive tree, the whole vineyard, when it references these vineyards, is talking about the house of Israel. What I will say on the heathen's behalf is the only time that another nation... Yeah, absolutely, sister. This is for you. So if you got questions, feel free.
That positivity that we need out here.
It's a balance of positive and negative, because we got to see where the negative has come to pass in terms of the prophecy, where it told us these negative things were going to happen as a result to our negligence and our ignorance, right? And then the positive is going to come when we come to adhere what the Most High God has said. But we just read that the vineyard is the nation of Israel. The only other time you see that the other nations are likened into any sort of vine is talking about Edom. They call them the cluster of a vine, where the scripture says that who the world calls Jesus Christ is going to gather them together and crush them like wine in a wine in a
My boy Ozzy would have loved this. Because he always said there weren't enough Puerto Ricans here for him. So now he's moving and going back to New York.
Oh,
He
man.
used to do security here.
Oh, yeah. You got to be with your tribe. Sometimes it makes you feel at home. We need that as a people. We so spread out and it's strange.
Okay, I'll be back.
All right, sister. We'll be right here. So now what we got to do, very importantly, is ask this. Now, where do we see the heathen being, where do we see an example of the heathen being made a part of this when it's defined that Israel is the whole vineyard in the first place? Before I move on. I want to give you a chance to extrapolate your, like, what we don't want to do is interpolate. What we don't want to do is read ourselves into the scriptures. We want to pull the truth out of it. So where do you see your ideas in this prophecy, in this scripture talking about the vineyard of God?
Well, I mean, I did a scripture and some time to look it up and all of that too, and obviously I'm not in that place at the moment.
Okay, well that's all
But
right.
I do believe and I do understand. And I guess I'm a little confused. And I like to be honest, okay? And so I'm going to just be honest. I don't really understand how white people are determined to be the ones that are racist if we're trying to separate out. To me, I look at you as a brother just as much as I look at anybody. I don't understand this.
Are you presupposing that I have a complaint about the white person being racist? Because that's not a discussion that me and you have had.
No, but I mean, I'm kind of getting the feeling.
Are you saying you don't get how black people can think white people are racist because of what I'm saying?
No, I understand that there can be
So,
white racism.
maybe
but I absolutely
repackage what
understand
you're
there's
saying.
black racism too, and I almost feel like that's a little bit what this is.
Well, first and foremost, I'm not black, I'm an Israelite. And as an Israelite in his right mind, I am racist. I'm a fervent racist.
Okay.
And the Bible is in full support of this. When you deal with the word racist, it just means for your people. If you weren't for your people, I think something's wrong with you.
Or for everybody. I mean, ultimately you're for everybody, right? Ultimately you're first for your family, right?
That's called a conflict of interest. I'm going to show you why. Because as soon as the white man wants more than equality, which is what? Equity, you're going to have a problem with it. Why is that? Let me ask you your nationality on your father's side first and foremost.
My father's side, I don't even know who my nationality is.
Okay. Say, for example, you were a Native American.
Okay.
Or say you were a Hispanic. Say you were a black person. Try to think from my point of view. Let's just say that your husband is a white man.
Okay.
Right? My father is a Judite man. He's an African American, so-called. Or more so, let's deal with the natives because this is something that's more modern in history, something that's more recent. The white man came here. He stole the Native Americans' land. So watch this. He kicked the white man out of his house. We're going to use.
The white man out of his
the white man kicked the Native American out of his house. He reduced them down to 2%. So this means that while he was kicking the Native American out of his house, he killed his family. Right? So watch this. He goes on without his house. He reproduces. He owns that house, but the white man's living in it. Right? Say, for example, that white man that kicked this man out of his house dies, but now he's got his kids in there, possessing property that doesn't belong to them. My seed, they should be able to inherit the house that I passed down to them because I'm the one that rightfully owns it. Right? So now, say my kids meet your kids who are in the house that was stolen from me, right? Shouldn't my kids be able to enter that house and do what they will with it because it's their property?
You have to remember though that
shit.
all of man's history, people have done this forever.
But we're talking
and ever,
about
though. It's not like this is a one-time
we're talking
deal.
about the Native Americans though. This is why we have to be fair. This is why you can't be for everybody. For one, you lose focus on the argumentation at hand. The argumentation at hand is, and the reason why these scriptures are going to have to come to pass.
So do you hate me?
Yeah.
You do?
That don't mean I have to hit you or nothing.
No, I know. I don't.
That don't mean I have to
understand.
hit you. That don't mean I have to
But
do
I don't
anything to you.
hate you.
That's
At
okay.
all.
That's
At
your.
all.
That's
Like,
your.
to me,
That's you. You do though, and we're gonna get to why. You're diverting. You're diverting. I'm gonna tell you why.
I'm not
As a
trying to
native,
divert.
but okay. So let's just entertain the argument that we started to have, which just means the proof. It don't have to be contentious. So as this Native American man seed, shouldn't they be able to go back into that house and possess that house the way that justice would have it?
If God provides a way
Oh,
for that person to go back into his
He's
house
going
and
to. He's
take-
going to.
Okay,
That's
then
what these scriptures are about. But I'm asking you. Should it? Should. So let's not sidestep. Should those Native American children be able to go back into that house and possess it and do what they will? Shouldn't, or the more important question is, shouldn't that house be given back to them?
Are you asking me what I believe?
It's a yes or no. Should it? Should it be given back to them? If you're a godly woman, the scriptures tell you the answer. So, should the house be given back to the rightful possessors of that house?
I believe that every person should have the ability to walk the land in a free country.
This is not a free
freely.
country. Who said it was a free country?
Well, it should be.
The white man came here. He kicked people out of this land, and he told people borders that they couldn't cross that never existed and still don't exist in all actuality, and told people, look, you can be estranged from your family, and it's because I say so, you'll never be able to see them again. So let's not deal with free country, because now what you're doing is you're taking an ideology that from one end of time and taking it back to another where it didn't exist. So what I'm asking you is, should the rightful owners of the house be able to go back into the house and do what they will with it? Should it be given back to
I pray
them?
that He will make fair and just everything, and I pray that your heart towards me would not be one of hate.
This is why you're the
Because
devil
I
that the
believe-
Bible speaks of. Look, you see this? This is why we say that the white woman, the white man is the devil.
Okay,
And
thank
quite
you very
honestly,
much.
I say the white woman is a bigger devil than the white man. Because this bitch can't even tell the truth. She couldn't tell the truth. She couldn't tell the truth if she had the truth stuffed in her mouth and there's nothing else that she could say. She would just shut the fuck up and not say nothing. You know what I'm saying? We're nice to this woman. Not nice, but You know, we're not yelling at this woman, cussing at her, but she's all nervous because she don't want to admit that she don't belong here in this land. Because if she does, she's going to have to speak the truth that the Most High God is against her and her people.
That's right.
She's going to have to speak to the fact that the Most High God, when he gives deliverance to the house of Israel, that he's going to bring destruction to these white people.
Right.
This is why they got to be removed, because they won't give back what they stole. It has to be taken back from them. That's why the scriptures say that the saints of the Most High God are going to take the kingdom. And you goddamn right, that's what we're going to do. We're going to take this kingdom back. Goddamn the white man, the woman, and child. Goddamn all of them. This is why the day of the Lord is near upon all the heathen. And you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans that want to be friends with them, guess what? You're going to regret that. You're going to be ashamed of the fact that you wanted to be friends with people that don't give a damn about your well-being. They don't give a damn about the Hispanic man, but they can't do without Hispanic food, though. They don't give a damn about the black man, but they can't do without some macaroni and cheese with some goddamn seasoning on it. They can't go without our music. They can't go without our style of dress. They can't go without our work ethic. Everything that they possess has to come crumbling down in order for us to be given ours back. And she couldn't admit this. This is why I said it's a conflict of interest. If anybody says that they are for everybody or that they're not racist, it's more a fact that you're lying about the fact that you're racist. She admitted that she's a racist because she don't want to give back.
Right.
She don't want to give back this land to our people because it wouldn't be conducive to her people, period. And that's fine. But admit it. But with that, you know, we're going to give all praises to the Most High God, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. You know, through the spirit of the Most High God, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Get Isaiah 14 real quick. Get Isaiah 14 real quick for the start. We just going to finish with that. This white woman, man, she has been found out. How you doing, bro?
It's been a long time, though. Shit, we still out here. Some of us still living. Some of us still keep growing. 40 years ago.
We don't die, we multiply.
Bloods and Crips down here.
Yeah, right there on 4th, huh, by McDonald's?
Yeah, 3rd Avenue. All the OGs are gone and dead. Some of us are changing rules, yeah. B-boy style, we go all the way to what? You know, freestyle, Bloods, G's, Crips, whatever, all over the town. Now everybody else is smoked out and cracked up, and now we're brotherhood trying to learn and trying to do something better.
All praises to the Most High.
Praise the bulls, man. Allah, man.
Yahweh's his name, bro. When you got a chance, come back. We're gonna be down here every Saturday.
Man, I work 6 days. I ain't gonna tell you the truth, but if I see I stop by if I don't.
All right, for sure, because we're gonna teach you about his God.
Right.
Yeah.
14 from the top?
Yeah.
God, this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 14, verse 1. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob.
The Lord will have mercy on Jacob.
It will yet choose Israel.
And he will yet choose Israel when it's all said and done. Go ahead.
And set them in their own land.
And he's going to set us in our own land. Ain't no goddamn free country where the white man can just come and lay down whatever rules he wants and straight and just take away people's rights because he sees it fit, because he thinks he's God. Go ahead.
And the strangers shall be joined with them.
The strangers are going to be joined with us. Ain't no way around that. They're going to be joined with us. But the capacity in which they're going to be joined with us is the question. Yeah.
And they shall cleave to the house of Jacob.
They're going to cleave to the house of Jacob, right?
And the people shall take them and bring them to their place.
We're going to take them and put them in their place. They're going to be humble. Go ahead.
And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids.
I wanted to get here with the broad, man, because there's no way around that. We're going to possess you for servants and handmaids. Where?
And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were.
We're going to take you guys captives, whose captives we are. So you guys better live it up, rejoice and be glad, O daughter and Edom, that dwelleth in the land of Uz, because you're going to get taken captive by the same people that you oppressed, that you spit on, that you beat, that you burned alive, that you cut up, whose babies you aborted, voluntarily and involuntarily. You are going to pay the proverbial piper. Go ahead.
And they shall rule over their oppressors.
And we're going to rule over you, and the world's going to be all the better for it. Because ain't nothing good ever happened under this white man's rulership, except the stimulus package. And guess what? The stimulus package ain't good because it's giving blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans extra weed, liquor, and video game money. It's because what it's doing is furthering the collapse of this wicked-ass economy. Right? Go ahead.
Con. Verse 3. And it shall come to pass in the day that the Lord shall give thee rest from thy sorrow, and from thy fear, and from thy hard bondage wherein thou was made to serve. That thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon.
It shall come to pass when all these things happen, we're going to take up a proverb against Babylon and on these wicked Idumeans. What are we going to say about them, though, bro?
And say, how hath the oppressor ceased?
How has the oppressor ceased? Right? You see these white people? How they just can go day to day without a care in the world, doing whatever they want. They get to do whatever they want. They get to shop till they drop. They get to steal from whoever they want to steal from, and they think they just gonna get away with it for all eternity. But that ain't how it is. That ain't how it's gonna be. We're gonna take up this proverb against Babylon, and we're gonna say, what again? Read that back.
How hath the oppressor ceased?
How have they ceased? The ones who thought they was gonna stay on the shoulders and the backs of all the oppressed people forever and ever. How have they ceased? The black men, the Hispanic men, and the Native American men who they enslaved, how did they rise above us? That's what they're going to be asking themselves, and we're going to be looking at each other thinking, damn, how did they fall so hard? The bigger they are, the harder they fall though, right? Because no matter how big America thinks themselves to be, they do not have the Most High God behind it. That's right. And they damn sure don't have Hashem Mashiach Yahweh Shai behind it. They can't even speak the name. They dare not even speak Hashem Mashiach Yahweh Shai. That's right. He came to destroy them, and he's going to come back and he's going to carry that out through the orders of his Father. Go ahead. How is the city ceased?
The golden city ceased. The Lord has broken the staff of the wicked.
It's because the Lord's going to break the rulership of the wicked. Right. The Most High God, he gives, he kills, he makes alive, he raises up kings, and he layeth down kings, and he's going to lay your asses down. Go ahead.
And the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke.
This white man that continually afflicts us with his wrath, that is continually thrashing us, hitting us with all these laws that are only conducive to him and detrimental to us, he's going to be casted down. Go ahead.
He that ruleth the nations in anger.
He that ruled the nations in anger, that got garrisons set up everywhere, inflicting his will on everybody. Right? Go ahead.
Is persecuted.
He's going to be persecuted for a change. Go ahead.
And none hinder it.
And nobody's going to be able to stop it when Yahweh Shai is on your ass about what you did to this world and about what you did to his children. And that's just facts. But you guys is going to run from that every chance you get when it's time to have a righteous conversation. Because there's no light, no righteousness in you. Not your women, nope. Not your children, nobody. All you are is devils. And you're afraid for people to realize that about you, and it shakes you up so much, and you just want me to know that you love me when you don't, because you admit that you can't even give the land back to my forefathers. And it's cool, because that's not what is written to come to pass. We have a land that is far better than this place. You done depleted most of the resources and minerals out of this land anyway, but we're going to get back the Fertile Crescent, as the people used to call it. We're going to get that back to have free reign over. We're going to have all the land that the Most High God sees fit to give to us. But it's just that little devil in you that won't even allow you to be fair and say, you know what, we should leave and give these people back our land. Simple conversation. You is my witness, and y'all is my witness too. So you black men, you think you could confide in these white women and oh, she's nice to you, and I done seen coon ass niggas have the nerve to say, oh, when Massa was beating us, the white woman was there to protect us. You goddamn liar. You are a goddamn liar. It's the reason that you are there as a white woman, that the white man does what he does, because you his glory. He pillages and robs and does all these wicked things so he can feed your wicked ass. Yeah, and you want the rulership of your man just as bad as he do, if not more. You know what I'm saying? And with that, we're going to give all praises to the Most High God, Yahweh Shai, and say Shalom. Shalom.
At Bakar, we understand what it means to be chosen, the importance of being holy, and the value of feeling and looking good while doing it. So if you're looking for quality, style, and righteous fashion, choose Bakar. We got you.